Welcome, Joy Behar.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Attention on me. Happy Wednesday. How are you?
I'm good.
Can we use that?
Do not touch that.
That was very funny. Unlike others at the table, you watched every moment of the president's address to Congress last night.
Because sometimes I like to watch comedies. I'm not that frequent. Mostly I like movies about World War II
And documentaries.
I like documentaries, and I also like movies that are like I watch Law and Order a lot. Mm-hmm. I like legal.
You like crime and tragedy and things like that.
Not tragedy, but I like to see how they figgue things out.
All right. Well, so you watched last night.
For change of pace, I said, Trump's on giving a speech. Let's watch some comedy tonight.
Right. All right. So tell me about what your takeaways were. I could see you going either way. I could see you just enjoying it, and I could also see you just turning it off and walking out of the room at some point. But you were into it.
Well, he's also boring in a way. He's not just funny. He's boring. But I'm good with boring also because I can watch like a foreign film that goes really slow.
It was the longest in history.
I actually have a much longer attention span than people think I do. Mm-hmm. They always think I don't because I talk a lot.
Yeah.
But I have a good attention span.
When you're entertained, you sit back and enjoy it.
Nobody is more entertaining than he is. That is his secret sauce.
Right.
And the reason that some people like him.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I'm curious what the ratings will be. And
all of a sudden in the middle, he's talking about Pocahontas.
Yeah.
He's rude. Mm-hmm. He's completely rude. And Elizabeth Warren just smiles and laughs because what else can she do?
Right.
The Democrats are looking ridiculous with those signs. I don't know what they should have done, but they need a leader.
Well, so we saw the Democratic response by Ms. Slotkin.
Slotkin, yeah. She's very good.
I thought she was terrific. And that's kind of the tenor of how Democrats should react as a conversation people are having. What's more effective, a measured response like that or signs and walking out? I mean, yesterday before this happened, you were saying everyone would stand up, make a big scene, walk out naked. What were you...
Well... You have to treat him like a toddler. Mm-hmm. And when a toddler is having a tantrum, which he is having, he's having this long, protracted tantrum. Mm-hmm. And they're against me, and people don't like me, and Biden, Obama, Biden. He's in a hysteria. And so you have to be the grown-up in the room, and it's where they're coming from. On the other hand... The toddler is getting away with throwing their toys around and turning the house into one big mess. Mm-hmm. So you can't just let that continue to go on like that.
Now, on the other side of it, what did you make of Congressman Al Green being thrown out?
Well, I thought that was a moment where you saw some passion on the guy's part, on the representative.
Right.
And then when who pointed out today, I think it was Whoopi, when Marjorie Taylor Greene did some yelling, "You're a liar" or something, and that other guy years ago said to Obama, "You lie," which really set the tone for this kind of behavior.
Yeah, we've become more like the British Parliament.
Exactly, but without the British accent, it doesn't work.
Yeah, and the Whigs.
And so when he did that, I thought, good for him. But why didn't they throw out Marjorie Taylor Greene? Because the Democrats are always the adults in the room. That's why. So the little toddler Marjorie is also throwing her toys around and yelling obscenities. And you have to say, okay, sit down, Marjorie, and behave yourself. In this case, Daddy comes in, who is the more autocratic figure, and throws the guy out, throws the toddler out without a babysitter.
Now, you're no stranger.
Have I exhausted this analogy?
No, I like it though. I like it. You're no stranger to walk-offs. Famously, you walked off.
Well, Sonny was supposed to do that today.
Oh, she was going to bring that up?
She was going to make the point that this is the way you do it and show the picture of Whoopi and me walking out of these nonsensical conversation with Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah. That. What do you remember about that day?
I remember that day that he was being ridiculous. That he was. I don't like when. Look, I even took up for the MAGA groups because I don't believe that you can paint any group with one brush. It's impossible to do.
Right.
So I will defend that.
Right.
The right of the minority or the group that you're attacking to not be painted with this brush.
Right.
So what he did it with Muslims, that they were all terrorists. I believe that's what it was.
It was a version of that, yeah.
And I could not get him to retract that. Mm-hmm. So I just got up and left.
Right. Not something pre-planned. This was something that just happened in the
moment. I felt like the chair was propelling my took us right up. And then Whoopi followed me because we're in solidarity. That's why. Which is what her point was, that they should have done that last night. When they threw him out, they should have said, we're leaving also.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting. And, Yeah, I mean, I wasn't working here when that happened, but of course, it's a moment that lives in infamy.
It does. It's my greatest moment, actually, on the show.
Yeah, and famously, if people who work here know, you generally do not like it when people get out of their seats at the table.
I don't. But as I said, I was being propelled out of the seat. And when I leave this show, I want you to include that in what they call a package.
Yes, I want to clarify because every time you say something like that, people are like, "She's leaving. Listen."
Well, when I do, eventually, everybody leaves eventually. Even you will leave eventually.
Oh, God willing. But there's no plans for you to go anywhere at the moment. No. We talk about this. There are these crazy stories that come out every single day. That's why I bring this up. And I tend to ignore them most of the time. But some of them are so absurd. So it's you and Whoopi have been fired. You and Whoopi are gone from the show.
That's wishful thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I almost want to do a segment and let's call it like, True View. What's actually happening here? Because the one last week, you were arrested at an airport.
For what?
Trying to flee after a lawsuit from Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary. They have AI showing you in handcuffs.
Yeah, so people believe that even though I'm on the air every day.
It's crazy. I saw another one today that you're in a hospital bed on having your last breaths again because you've been upset by the Trump administration and you can't take it anymore. Of course, you're on live television at 11 every day. But you want to dismiss these things, but you see 50,000 people clicking on it, which is the point, of course, of these lies.
50,000, that's nothing.
No, I know, but people make money off this junk. Do you? Does it bother you?
No. I couldn't care less. So how stupid are these people that they believe this?
I know. I
mean, I'm on the air every day, so I'm obviously not on a hospital bed, and I'm obviously not going to jail.
Yes. All right.
Or leaving the country. Sorry to report to those people.
Yeah, and here you are. Here we are with me. I'm behind the table.
Why would I leave the country? I have this other career going on right now.
Yeah, no.
As a playwright.
Yes.
So I'm not leaving the country unless I go to New Zealand or London where they speak English. By the way, my show, My First Ex-Husband, which is now at the MMAC Theater on West 60th Street, it's running now with Susan Lucci and a few other, Judy Gold. Some
of the staff saw this version of it and said it's fantastic.
I hear they're great. I'm going to see it. I'm going to go see it this week. You should get tickets because it's a good show. And not because I wrote it, but because it's just an interesting show about women talking about their first ex-husbands. And they're all different. And what was my point? I forgot what my point was.
I think it was to sell tickets.
No, there was a reason I brought it up. Oh, my new career.
You want to go to London and do the show there?
I might be going in August because we're off in August. Yes. I might be going to London to meet people about doing the show there.
All right. Well, there you go. And you don't need my permission for that. That's good. Although you don't like London in the heat. We've established
Well,
this.
how could it be? It's not like Italy where you're in a valley.
I don't know. We've just discussed this before. You've passed on opportunities because of London in the heat.
I know, but this is different.
All right.
That was to be on Ted Lasso?
Yes.
No. This is my project.
All right. Speaking of which, the other thing that happened on the show yesterday, we had Stephen A. Smith here.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about Andrew Cuomo. And we also talked about whether or not Trump had a mandate or not. This is something we talked about with both him and Karine Jean-Pierre.
Oh, right.
It was a good show, I thought. What did you think of that dichotomy, and what did you think of the...
To me, a mandate means that you swept. He didn't. He supposedly won by a very small margin.
Right.
And the fact that he got the swing states, I don't see how that's a mandate. It's just another few states. What's the difference? I don't get that.
Right. So you think it's still a very split
He's going to
country.
say it's a mandate, whether it is or not, because he makes everything up.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. All right. Let's move on.
They needed a fact checker last night.
Well, everyone's, every outlet has their own version of it that goes online, and they run their own CNN, ABC.
But you couldn't even keep up. AI could not keep up with the lies. They were coming fast.
All right. The Real Housewives of Atlanta star Portia Williams was on
very
today.
Adorable.
You guys really hit it off.
I liked her a lot.
Yeah.
Well, she's a woman after my own heart because she's divorced and she was really in trouble financially, and then she brought herself back as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Women need to learn how to do that because many women, including myself, until I hit 40, I didn't really understand money. I didn't get it. And I grew up in a time when this country was very, very kind to people who needed a free this, a free that. I mean, I could have gotten an education, a free education, and as a social worker at that time, they were actually giving you that.
Right.
And then things started to change.
How did you learn about money when you were single? You just by need and you just had to figure it out, or I mean. You just were thrown into the deep end?
Well, I had a husband. We were very casual, both of us, about money. But
Right.
we had no savings, nothing. Mm-hmm. And when I got divorced, I said, oh, my God, what am I going to do now? And so I had to pull myself together. And that's when I started doing stand-up comedy.
My daughter's is about to go into high school. And she's, as we've talked about, very into the arts and things like
Yes.
that. But she is coming into high school and you have to choose electives. And one of the things she's going to take is business, which
Good
I think
girl.
is a really
Smart.
smart thing to do. Because,
Very smart.
I didn't know a ton about money or things either until I was thrown
But
into it
when,
and
but
had
when
to
you
pay
get
rent.
married, what happens, I think, is that you don't pay attention to it because you have somebody there
Mm-hmm.
who could pick up the slack.
Yeah, theoretically, I always say, like, my wife and I, one of us should have married someone with money. We both were broke when we got married.
Yeah, but you're doing fine.
We're doing okay. We're doing okay. But yeah. So, all right. Going back to Portia.
Okay.
Portia said on the show today that she was a reformed people pleaser.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think being a people pleaser is a good thing? And what's your advice to people on how not to be one?
I think that a people pleaser is not a great thing to
Yeah, I
be.
would think you would think that.
No, because that it bespeaks of your insecurities.
Right.
That you want everybody to like you. First
Yes.
of all, one of the things you should know by now, if you're 40 or above, is not everybody's going to like you.
Yes, I figured that out.
Yeah, not everybody's going to like you. So why would you pursue someone who's not going to like you in the first place?
Yeah, no, I think so. There's something about people also. I think people are drawn to people that are a challenge sometimes.
Well,
Do you find that? I don't know. I found like any relationship I had where the girl I was dating was just madly in love with me. That's a turn off.
You weren't interested.
No, I like the ones I had to earn.
Yeah, well, you should. Well, playing hard to get, I think we used to call it.
I guess that's what it is. Yeah. I'm 20 years into marriage, and I'm still my wife's still playing hard to get.
Yeah, that's your thing. You
It
like
is.
that.
It is. Yeah.
You still like it, and that's what keeps you coming back to her and to this show.
And to the View. Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's right.
This show is hard to get, also.
Oh my goodness! But do you find that were you like that too, or did you do
people pleaser?
you just want to be adored, or do you feel like you want,
look?
yeah.
Here's the thing. I was adored as a child. I had a big Italian family who thought I was the cat's meow. Okay, so I don't need to be adored. I had enough.
You've got enough of
I'm
it.
not in compensation, which
that's
is
what it is.
a lot of this is about compensation, about what you didn't get when you were a child. I got it. I had enough. I don't need it anymore.
All right.
So the question, go back to Trump for a second.
Yes.
What is the question? What do you think was his childhood? Because the guy needs you to adore him constantly. I mean, and anybody who bows down to him, he likes you.
Right. Well, there's
know?
been a lot written about his father and his relationship with his father, and I think the implication was that maybe they were not close at the very least.
Well, doesn't seem to be close to his own children either.
Well, I think that's probably
Yeah.
trickles down.
But they say that all you have to do is flatter him, and he puts you on his payroll or whatever. I mean, who needs a president like that? I don't want a president who's so insecure and needy for your affection and your adoration and loyalty. It's pathetic. I believe that somebody in that position should have a very strong core of self, not just be good at politics or know how the economy works. This is that's why people liked Ronald Reagan, even though I was not a fan. But I admired the fact that he was not like that.
No, George W. Bush also had deep-seated
W
beliefs.
or HW?
W, I was talking about. I think had a belief system.
Yeah.
Whether right or wrong, or it seemed like it was coming from somewhere that was authentic.
Yeah, but he was at the mercy of Dick Cheney and
Sure.
those people with the war. That was a big mistake.
Yes.
He left it to others, and that was not a good thing. Okay. His father was a little bit more sturdy, I guess. Yeah.
I think it is hard to kind of figure out what Trump really believes in at the core. He seems these tariffs. He seems very.
No matter how many times the Wall Street Journal itself tells him it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
He's all in for these tariffs. Well, they say. I mean,
They say places that don't get bleeped. Yes.
People are going to find out when this starts to unravel.
Yeah.
Everything is going to go up. It's really going to be bad. And some people say he's driving us towards a recession, whatever that means.
Yeah. All right. I have a question here. Did you ever think about, have you ever been approached or thought about doing a reality TV show?
Oh, my life is not that interesting.
Oh, I think it is. As someone who's around the periphery of your life, I think.
Why? What do you think is
You're hysterical in unguarded moments.
Well, my personality maybe,
Yes.
but my life itself. Like today, I'm going to go, to see my show. And then I'm going to have a little dinner with people.
Yeah,
then
dinner. You at dinner. I've been to dinner with you. You're very funny. You hold court. You observe things going on. I think people would pay a lot of money to see this.
But that's not really a reality show.
Have you seen Alec Baldwin's got a reality show now? Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, but I'm saying
I like her though. I like Hilaria.
Yeah.
I've met her. She's been to my house.
These are people that are not people you would picture being on a reality show. I mean, honestly, I come by your office in the morning. You're going on with 8 or 9 people. You got funny things happening. I think people would watch that.
But who would watch this?
I think people would. Who's
All right,
watching
well
this?
All right, so then forget about The View. I'll start
No, never mind. All right. Before we go, we have a question from the audience. This is from Corbin in Indiana.
All right.
Why is it that you say you never tell the same joke twice, as been mentioned multiple times by Brian and the other hosts?
It's not that I don't tell the same joke twice.
Right.
When you do stand-up comedy, you have a set.
Yes.
Which means it's set.
Yes.
Okay? And you do tell the same jokes. You have a different audience. You may have different timing. You put it in you move it around like
Right.
Lenny Bruce used to say. But when I tell a joke to the assembled in the meeting, they've already heard it. Now I'm going to say it on the air. It's like it's not fresh anymore.
Well, it'll work for the audience who hasn't heard it before. I disagree with you on this, but I understand it and respect it. I know why you do it. But you will.
I'm a purist.
This is why I don't like to really play things out too much in the Hot Topics meeting.
Yeah.
And you feel that way too,
Yeah.
I think, because you'll often, off the cuff, say something absolutely hilarious.
And then, you know why? Because I feel free to say what I want there. When I'm on the air, I have some restrictions.
Sure, but these are things that you could have said on the air that are still very funny. The whole room dies laughing, and then the
it
audience will
dies.
never hear it because you'll never do it again. You won't live that moment
And
again.
why do you consider this a flaw?
I'm not because I think it's good content that America needs and is missing.
I don't see this as a negative thing.
Well, they're asking about it. Corbin from Indiana is very curious.
If Corbin had come to see my stand-up act, he would see that I do repeat it, but it's a different audience.
Right.
You're saying that the audience at home
home.
hasn't heard it, but the ones on the panel
Right.
have. And I'm basically talking to them. I don't know if you realize
I do
that.
know this, and it's funny because I think this is a thing comedians do. They want to make people around them that they respect laugh. And they don't care if the people at home get it necessarily. So like it's
Yeah.
I know, and I've talked about working for David Letterman ad nauseum. I know, but
What would he say about it?
well, when we worked there, he would do jokes occasionally that were just for the people in the room. That called
Yeah.
back to his his warm up earlier on, or just to make basically if Dave laughed at something and nobody in the audience laughed, everyone who worked there thought that was a great day. Like that's all that mattered.
Why?
Because you wanted to make the guy who's the funny person laugh. So
I
when
see.
you and Whoopi make each other laugh,
I see.
I feel like that's the win that you
Well,
care about.
Sarah likes it when I laugh at something she said.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, she likes
I like it when you laugh at something I
Yeah,
said.
she's funny too.
Sarah's the best audience because she'll
She
just
is.
laugh
She's
at
good
everything
audience,
for 20
yeah.
minutes. It's great.
That's
yeah.
true.
And she'll be here tomorrow on the podcast, so that works out pretty well for me.
You should put her on with me sometime.
I think we should mix it up a little bit and
mix it
have some 2-on-1s here.
Yeah,
It'll be good.
okay.
All right. On that note, thank you for joining me today, Joy
All right,
Behar.
you're welcome.
Tomorrow I'll be back with Sarah. You can wait until I'm done talking to pick up the I mean, it's another 30
You
seconds.
starved me.
It's another 30 seconds, Joy.
Go ahead.
Thank you for joining me today, Joy. Your hand is in the bag. For the love of God. Thank you for joining me today, Joy. Tomorrow I'll be back with Sarah Haynes. We will see you then.